Rolling Stone magazine, the 100 top guitar players of all time, you're number 19.
Welcome to Tony's Backstage Pass. This is a behind the scenes of the music industry where Tony strips back the curtain and shows you what really goes on. So tune in and tune up. It's gonna be a wild ride.
Welcome to Tony's Backstage Pass. On this episode, we not only have a legend of the music industry, not only a rock and roll Hall of Famer, not only the go-to guitars for a host of legendary performers, but a man that helped create a whole genre of music. This man had his first hit at 13. He's played on hundreds of hit songs. He has toured the world many times over. Most of his employers are legendary performers in their own right, and one of them was a king. This man is so well respected that the most famous guitar players in the last 50 plus years call him their guitar hero. His tone and touch is so iconic that they named it after him. So sit back, get ready to meet one of the most influential guitarists of our time and also one of the nicest gentlemen you will ever have the pleasure to meet, Mr. James Burton. They're ready for us.
All right, let's go do it.
You ready?
I'm okay?
You look great. Thank you. After you.
Rockin. Welcome, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you
Good
for
to
having
see
me.
you. Oh, man, this is
Thank you.
great. I'm excited.
Well, walk me through your studio. Tell me, I mean, this is like your history.
Well, you probably know
this
more
is your
about
life.
this than I do.
I might. I don't know.
This is our life.
So is this where it all started, James?
Basically, it did, with a little short guitar lick, and a friend of mine, Dale Hawkins, wrote a few lyrics, very simple, a little Suzy Q.
How old were you when you wrote Suzy Q?
I was actually 13 when I wrote that
13?
little lick. 13. I started playing guitar when I was 13. That little guitar lick came to me, and we played it in the nightclubs every night. Well, it was an instrumental, you know. We just played it in the clubs as an instrumental. And Dale Hawkins, he decided one day, he said, I'm going to write some lyrics. Very simple, but Suzy Q was quite stirred up a little action.
And that's what led you to Ricky?
Well, when I went to work with Ricky, I was 16 years old, and Ricky was 16, just a few months apart. So, and we were playing on TV and playing all these great songs at that time. I was a Telecaster player. My mother and dad bought me my first guitar, the first Telecaster, and I had it painted all different colors and ended up with the Coronado red. This one behind you, that's it.
That's the one?
That's the one right there.
Wow.
That guitar has a lot of miles on it.
Yeah.
It recorded Suzy Q, many songs, Ricky Nelson songs. And just a great guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see the wear and tear. And one day I turned it over and I was gonna sand the back down. I was thinking, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna just leave it like it is. And
cool.
But there's so much history with this guitar.
Yeah.
It's been on so many records with so many great artists.
So this has got your fingerprint on it. This is as much you.
That's
you
me.
know? Yeah.
That's me.
Wow.
And these pictures here with Ricky. You know, I was with Ricky maybe 8.5 years, and we did I was in Harriet TV show.
Right.
And recorded many records, many great songs. My experience and my days and musical time with Ricky was wonderful.
And back then, now you know, this is pre like that rock and roll thing was just kind of bubbling at that point, right? I mean, did you sense that something was happening, change was happening? You were a part of that change, or what was it like?
Well, it was going so fast, man. I mean, it's like, and all my other friends, they were picking up on it. And my buddy Keith Richards said that he, you know, they watched Oz and Harriet show to see who's playing guitar.
Well, my favorite quote from Keith Richards, though, is he never bought a Ricky Nelson record, he bought a James Burton record. I love that quote.
Johnny Cash called me and invited me to do a TV show, play slide dobro. I said, okay, great, I'll do that. This show, we didn't have a clue what it was. So we go into ABC in California, in Hollywood, and Johnny was gonna bring me a dobro. He brought a metal dobro and he walked in the door dragging it on the concrete. And I said, oh no, Johnny, please. But anyway, we did this TV show, and the producer, Jack Good from England, he said, JB, I love all those solos, man, on the Ricky Nelson records. You gotta be on the show, you gotta be a regular. I said, well, great, Jack, what do we do? He said, let's put a band together. And that's when we formed the Shindogs.
Okay.
Laney Bramlett, Joey Cooper, Chuck Blackwell on drums, and then Glenn Harden, and I played guitar. So we were the Shindogs for the show. We did 90% of the recording for the whole show. We would pre-record the tracks, pre-record, and then a lot of stuff we played live.
Oh, okay.
And Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, I played solo, Jerry singing. But when the Rolling Stones came, they wanted to bring someone. And Jack said, great, okay, no problem. So they brought Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah.
And I played guitar with Howlin'. But anyway, that was a fun time.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance, plus stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor for 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote. Call now.
The reason why I wanted to have you, I know you didn't want to be on.
No, I don't.
But thank you. I appreciate it, because for me, it's hard to interview James without you. Because to me, James Burton and Louise Burton are the Burtons. You have been right there. And what a great example the two of you are to younger generations of married couple. You've been together, you've been through it all together, you know? And what I love is your banter back and forth. You know, I always tell people James Burton is this guy that has literally walked through the history of rock and roll. He has touched this whole genre that we now, our younger generations and the generations coming up, need to appreciate, and you're right there next to him.
Yeah, it's strange because you don't think of all those things happening as being so incredible, because everyone's friends in this business. We were like 16, and when we got married when I was 18, when I graduated from school. So we've been together, married, 60 years. And
That's
so
wonderful.
We were thinking the other day, that's impossible because he's 13 and I'm 21, so how could that possibly be? But you think of all the things you've gone through and all the different people and the different shows and the different recordings, and it seems like, what lifetime was that?
I'm very fortunate and truly blessed because I have so many wonderful friends, entertainers in the business.
Yeah.
And we just continue doing it. what we do.
People may not realize your history with Elvis, but also with John Denver and Elvis Costello and Emmylou Harris and, well, Frank Sinatra
You name
and
it. Nat King Cole.
Nat King Cole and a few others.
The Monkees.
Oh, that's really?
The Monkees, the Beach Boys, Dick Dale, all those, yeah.
Man.
The list goes on and on. I guess in the show we could get a list of names.
Yeah, we just. It would be the length of the whole show, though. We couldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Yeah.
that's just how vast. Remember when we did the Mississippi Grammys, and Jerry Lee was there? You know, they honored him that night and everything. And of course, that's the first time I ever met him and got to see him perform. Where were we? At the Governor's Mansion or something like that. Remember, it was in Jackson, Mississippi, and Hartley was there, and it was a whole thing. But Jerry Lee, that's that era. That's what you were a part of that whole new thing. If it wasn't for you guys, I mean, did you feel like you were breaking any kind of new ground at that time? Because everything changed after that.
I think so, because Shindig, all these things came later. I met Jerry Lee when I was working with Bob Luma. We used to travel in the 50s, and we'd go on tour, and Jerry Lee'd be on tour, Sonny James, and we'd go, and Gene Vincent, and the Blue Cabs, and Eddie Cochran. So we all like a big family, man. And Eddie Cochran and I used to go motorcycle riding together. And when I was with Ricky, we had Triumph Bonnevilles. And oh man, great bikes. Ricky and I drove over to the Knickerbocker Hotel one day and just ran into Gene Vincent and all the guys, and Eddie Cochran was there. So Ricky said, well, we're gonna go for a ride, we'll see you guys later. And Gene and Eddie said, can we go with you? And so Eddie jumped on the back of my bike, and then Gene Vincent rode with Ricky. So we were all over Hollywood, man. It was so much fun. But anyway, we moved into a great show we did called a Black and White Night with Roy Orbison and all-star cast. Oh
yeah, look at Elvis Costello, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, I said, Roy, you couldn't find any talent for the show, right? So we had so many great artists on the show. We had Bonnie Raitt, Katie Lang.
Oh, they're great.
Jennifer Warren, great singers.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a wonderful show, and still #1.
That's cool.
#1 show.
Yeah.
Great show.
That's cool.
It's every guitar player, I think they're all great.
Yeah.
And what's so great about it is we're all different.
Right. Yeah, I've never heard you say anything bad about any guitar player or musician. Your outlook has always been so positive.
Well, most of them are my friends, and when we're not playing together, we go out and have dinner together, and we visit, and we're family. We're all family,
Right.
like you and your wife. Yeah. We're family.
Musicians are like that, though.
That's right.
Do you find that, we kind of tend to stick with each other because we kind of have our own language or
It's like when I lived in California in Toluca Lake and Burbank, and I would fly to Nashville and play with my friends down there. It was like I was at home. I mean, it was like all these guys in Nashville are mine. We're all family.
They're all just friends. Most of them are just so down to earth, and I think they are like that because you treat them like that. You don't treat them anything but a friend, and they sometimes are shocked with that, and they like it. And so I'm friends with everybody. I'm everybody's mother, so they call me and ask me motherly advice from around the world. These are superstars, and they need that.
Because you're so personable.
Because they know I say it with love.
And you're quick to hug, and you're a good hugger.
Yeah, there's no hatred in me.
And your energy is something.
Yeah.
You and James together, your energy is infectious.
And we want them to do better.
Yeah.
And we're always saying, what are you doing next? What's happening?
Want more Backstage stories? Become a member of our Patreon page. You'll get access to bonus footage, full performances, swag, and special live events where you can interact with guests. This is your Backstage Pass.
Now you're a rock and roll, inductee, Hall of Fame inductee. Keith Richards, your buddy, inducts you into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rolling Stone magazine, the 100 top guitar players of all time, you're number 19.
I think I was next door to Les Paul. I think he was 20 or something.
I mean,
I'm not sure.
Unbelievable.
But I'm still trying to figure out how to beat Jimi Hendrix out. And this guitar, by the way, Les Paul was a great friend of mine, and he was a wonderful guy.
He was.
And I got to tell you, this guitar, Gibson gave me this guitar in 2005 when I formed my foundation, and they gave me that on stage.
Oh, that's nice.
And I have a beautiful white one. I don't have in here that Les Paul signed. The only signature on there was Les Paul signed it.
Yeah. I got to meet Les Paul, and it was, for me, it was surreal, because I'm just some kid from Chicago. I'm nobody. And here I am in New York City with Les Paul and Hartley Peavey. And they're talking back and forth, and I'm standing in the middle of the two of them, and I'm like, how did this happen in my life?
Absolutely.
But these things, like now, I'm freaking out standing here next to you and being able to just have a little jam session earlier. They took all kinds of pictures of it. I mean, to me, that was absolutely amazing.
Well, I was playing in New York at Tramps Club, and Les Paul was there. He was playing. We were all the guys. I think Albert Lee was there, and my son was there. And so we're standing beside the stage, and Les Paul was standing right next to me, and I had my Fender guitar, and of course he's a Gibson guy, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I leaned over and I said, "Mr. Paul, would you mind signing my guitar?" He said, I said, "Oh my goodness, what did I say?" I started to say, "Excuse me," but he said, "I'll tell you what I'll do, son. You sign my guitar, I'll sign your guitar." I said, "No, wait a minute. Is that the way it works?"
Yeah.
But I thought that was amazing. I was thrilled that he offered to sign my guitar.
That's cool.
And I didn't have to sign his because it was, he was Les Paul.
Yeah. So here we go. John Denver. You spent how many years with John?
20.
20 years,
20
really?
years after Elvis passed away, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a great guy to work with. We played many, many places. A lot of places in Australia.
Was this one of his guitars or
no,
one
that's
of yours?
Glenn Campbell.
Oh, the Ovation?
That's the GC,
Oh,
Glenn
okay.
Campbell. We were doing a session with Glenn, and that was a brand new guitar. He put new strings on it, and he said, a couple chords, and he said, "Here, JB, cheers." Of course, Glenn and I, we did the evaluation on these guitars, the original.
The Ovation?
And
when they
yeah,
first came out?
I've got a bunch of them. I played this guitar with a lot of sessions. It's a good sounding guitar.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Well, did John Denver play some Ovations too, or?
No, actually, when I went to work with him, he was with Yamaha.
Oh, okay.
But then I got him with Taylor.
Oh, okay.
So now he's playing. Well, he was.
Was.
That was the last guitar he played.
Okay.
He was a great pilot too. I flew with him many times on the Lear. Great pilot. I don't know what happened that wasn't a plane he was flying that day. Was not a great plane. It had the motor in the back, and it just wasn't a good plane. But anyway, I miss him, and he was a great guy.
And then with the tour jackets?
Yeah, tour jacket. Yeah,
Oh,
we had lots of tour jackets, and
cool.
I must have a large collection of jackets and shirts, and all kinds of stuff.
Well, all the tours and everything you've been a part of, all that merchandise and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Now, we were talking over here to Buddy Holly.
We're talking Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Ricky and I were in a car driving down Hollywood Boulevard and had the radio on. And an emergency came on and said, "We have just had an airplane crash with three great entertainers, Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper." By the way, I did an album with the Big Bopper son. Big Bopper, I don't know, would it be another junior
Or the Little Bopper.
the Little Bopper. But anyway, Waylon Jennings was supposed to have been on that flight.
Oh.
And Big Bopper took his place. Oh. But anyway, and I have one of my favorite songs, Blue Days and Black Nights, leather cover for the Blue Flamer.
That's cool. And then this.
Yeah, they had this made up for me for
Really?
the foundation.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I did the tribute in L.A. when Buddy Holly's 75th birthday. And he put the star in front of Capitol Records.
Oh.
And I was there. We all played and had a great time.
Yeah, and you got it right there. You got Buddy. And then another buddy of yours. I don't know this guitar player.
Pete Townsend. I knocked on his door and said, Pete, I got something for you. And that was in London, and the guitar they made for him. And they also made one for me.
Oh, wow.
Buddy was an incredible, awesome songwriter, and he was really before his time. His music was incredible.
You know, a lot of superstars, a lot of famous musicians don't have the resume James has. He's not just, I'm a country player, I'm a rock player, I'm a jazz player. I don't want one artist to overshadow the others because his legacy is so diverse. And that to me is the most impressive thing from your point of view. Why do you think so many of these artists seek him out? It's not him asking them, here, let me play guitar. His phone is ringing constantly.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, people say, well, how did you get that gig?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
They called us, you know. And,
It's amazing.
And that's just such a blessing for that to happen with us. But I think the reason is he loves to play everything. And being in LA and being in the session world in Los Angeles, you play everything. You play music background for movies, you play commercials, you play, you never know what you're going to go into. I never even wrote down all the people he worked with because we just say studio, whatever studio, and what time he's supposed to be there. And so he'd just show up and find out what he's supposed to play when he got there. And because he was so creative in his playing, he could play anything. It's like you're playing it for the first time. I remember the first time he went in, he had to play a sitar. He had never played a sitar. We had to go buy a sitar. And so, but it's exciting. And, you know, he's in the Nashville Cats because he'd have to fly to Nashville and do a bunch of country artists that he had played with a lot. And Buck Owens and Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings. And, you know, it's just a lot. And became really close friends with Chet Atkins and a lot of the Nashville guys. And they're incredible players. Because he played with Buck Owens in a lot of the Bakersfield area, he's considered part of the Bakersfield Brass also. And then he's part of the Wrecking Crew in LA. So he had it, you know, Nashville, Bakersfield, LA covered. But it's because he played all of that. And in LA at one time, the story was, oh, if you can get James Burton on your records, you're going to have a $1 million seller hit. Well, maybe that wasn't true, but it was a nice compliment.
Yeah.
But James just loved going in and you know, they didn't write his parts. He would listen and then he would compose his own parts. And so that's what made it so much fun for James. And probably stressful for some of the producers, but because he just, I remember Emery Gardy told me one time, he said, God, Louise, he said, we're in here and James just takes off. And he said, we are saying he is not going to land on his feet this time. He's way too far out there. He said, if he didn't just turn around and come back and land on both feet, he said, we just started laughing. But he gets inspired. Most people think he practices around the house, and he probably should, but he doesn't because he likes to play with a whole band, and they inspire him to play.
Right.
And so when he's with a band, he just gets real excited and invents all these incredible licks and styles. And so you think, oh, he plays all the time. No, never came home and talked about his work. He had a real home life, you know, and I think that was important in his career and because a lot of entertainers didn't have that.
Right.
A lot. In fact, a lot of single guys, I felt so sorry for because they'd go home and just eat fast food and had no one to talk to.
Yeah.
And a wife is really the helpmate of the husband. And, you know, there was nobody to tell how you felt about things and have a normal life. You know, the kids getting in trouble at school, which mine didn't, of course. They were perfect kids.
Yes.
So, but you have to have that normal in your life.
Right.
Otherwise, you're on stage all the time, and that becomes a fantasy life then that you're living.
I had an IED go off right under my vehicle, popped the tires, shattered the windshield, and just shrapnel was everywhere. I have this window where I know something's not right. If I go past that window, I can go just completely off the rails. It's like being an actor in your own life. You're watching yourself do these things that you have no control over. You're watching yourself kind of self-implode almost. My heart was just beating like 1,000 miles an hour. Like, am I gonna die? It's like a darkness. It's hard to escape from. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
For more information, please visit www.guitarsforvets.org. That's guitar with an S, the number 4, vets.org.
Tony, we have so many different guitars here. There's one that's quite different.
Yeah. Now, you said a preacher made you
The
this?
preacher, that was what he dreamed that guitar
Really?
one night, and he had it made. And he came and wanted me to sign it, and I thought it was too beautiful to sign.
It's gorgeous.
So I said, let me think about it. The next day he came and he said, I thought about it. And he said, I don't want you to sign it. I'm going to give it to you. I want you to have this guitar.
Wow. That's really cool. That is a beautiful guitar.
So Tony, these two guitars here belong to my son, Jeff.
Yeah.
And this was the first one he played. But you know, I did my signature program with Fender.
Yeah.
So Dan Smith and I came up with the idea to do the signature JB model. And this was my very first prototype
Really?
guitar that we did with the black and gold paisley.
I love that.
And that was his favorite guitar. Jeffrey played that one.
I have a picture of Jeff playing that, giving me a thumbs
Yeah.
up. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great guitar.
He was a good player. He was
Yeah.
a wonderful singer and a great showman and a great player.
Yeah, he was. And here's another one of your signature.
That is black and red. You'll notice that the red, for some reason, the black overpowers the red.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny Lovelace, the guitar player with Jerry Lee Lewis, plays that guitar. He has one of those.
Oh, man.
And he loves it. It's a
Yeah.
3 pickup. My guitar is about the 3 pickup Telly, which they never, my first, the 3 pickup. And then I had a push button in for the volume with like a booster and a 5-way
Oh, neat.
switch.
Neat.
And you'll notice that some of them are the satin necks, but they're great guitars.
Yeah. The maple and everything.
Play great, all
Yeah.
sound great, 5-way switch. Anything you want, really.
Well, now this one's more like your first one.
Correct.
These, right?
Well, they wanted to do a model that was a little less expensive for the younger
Yeah.
generation. And these bodies were like put together in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
But all my hardware and everything was from the U.S. Yes.
Oh, okay.
But they're great guitars.
But it brought that
they
price
sound
point
good,
down.
They play good, and we have different colors. I think I have almost every color, you can
Yeah.
put on them.
Well, I know the red reminded me of your red one, your first one. That one is kind of.
Now you'll see a new one here, the black and gold.
Man.
So that's a brand new one.
Wow. That is very cool.
It's an old, brand new one.
Old, brand new one.
Anyway, we're looking at a white body guitar. It's all these are 3 pickups, and they all play great, fantastic.
Yeah, and the flame paisley.
This is my new one. This one I'm actually playing today. Black and red.
That's so cool.
Yeah, the black and red paisley. Great guitar, satin neck. Oh, it's fantastic.
Nice
fantastic
and smooth.
neck. You'll get a chance to play that. And
then you're on the cover of Guitar Player magazine, vintage guitar. Look at this.
I had to do something different, you know, keep moving up. And you'll see here different colors and the 3 pickup.
Yeah, black and
there's a black 2 pickup. Pretty cool.
And a Fender twin reverb.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your go-to, the twin? Has that always been kind of your go-to?
You know, that's probably my favorite amp for live playing. And you get a good one, primo.
Yeah.
They're a little heavy, but I don't have to move them around.
Yeah, you got somebody else for that. Yeah. Some people may not know that you were known as the dobro guy early in your career. You played dobro on tons of stuff.
You know, I played slide guitar on Glenn Campbell's very first album for Capitol Records. And of course, later on, I played on Gentle on My Mind, all those big hits. You know, Glenn was one of my closest friends when he came to LA, and I gave him recording sessions because Ricky didn't want me playing with other artists.
Oh, okay.
So when they called me, I was real busy, and I'd say, okay, call my buddy Glenn. And I got into doing a lot of recording. Of course, I did a lot of recording. Glenn and I played on a lot of records together. Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., you name it.
Oh, man.
And this is the Country Music Hall of Fame in Los Angeles. They had a program, and they called, like these dobros were like a specialty instrument. And I won a few awards.
Yeah.
Playing dobro.
Yeah, quite a few.
And banjo, mandolin, and you name it.
That is awesome. You know, I was looking on this wall here of records. I had no idea you played on Taste of Honey. I mean, how did that come about? Herb Alpert call you, or was it just
Herb
a session?
did a lot of stuff with Herb Alpert. He did his first thing on A&M.
Okay.
And what happened was we did 6 songs in L.A., and Chet came and bought his contract and took him to Nashville and finished the album.
Okay. Wow.
And Mama Cass, the album Mama Cass, great, great record.
She had a great voice. Boy, could she sing. Yeah, it's a who's who. The Beach Boys, I mean, like you said, just tons.
Now, you're going to love this guitar here. This is a Telecaster hand carved.
Is that? Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
I played that with Elvis on quite a few deals.
Oh, that's neat.
You'll see here Glenn Campbell, Gentle on My Mind, back there behind the scene.
Yeah,
remember
Buffalo
Jackie
Springfield.
DeShannon?
Oh. Oh, okay, yeah.
Howard Axel was a great friend of mine. There's Elvis Costello up there.
Johnny Rivers. I forgot about Johnny Rivers, yeah. Wow. Yeah, the list just goes on and on. Yeah, the satellite, boy, was this a big deal. Aloha from Hawaii, the satellite.
#1 show.
Yeah.
Great show, one of my favorites. And
that reached, at that time, it broke a record for like how many people saw that.
More than 4 billion people around the world at one showing.
That is amazing. That is really cool.
Randy Newman, you know.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, it's Gary Puckett, all those big hits he had. Andy Williams had a couple.
Yeah. That is amazing. You know, you're not a big pedal guy. I never really known you to have a whole lot of pedals on the floor.
You don't need them. Not really. You know, I like a little delay, a little boss delay, and I like to maybe a little chorus. And if you need, I don't use a lot of distortion unless I need it for certain. To me, it's an add-on, you know?
Okay.
If you want to do an overdub with a different sound, that's cool. But, you know, you want a nice, clean sound. I like a little overdrive, you know, not a lot. I'm not really heavy on the fuzz. A lot of guitar players, you know, the heavy metal, the rock and roll stuff is too much distortion. Your ears can't handle it.
Do you have any secrets or any tips, like when you record your guitar or your amps or live? Any tricks you picked up, you know, over the years that you? Just the fingers,
It's
huh?
in the fingers. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Basically, it is in the fingers, but sound. There's many sounds, many sounds you can go for, and I have all that stuff. But it's too much stuff to travel with when you're working and traveling on and off planes and too much gear. You don't need all of that, you know, just a couple things and
right.
And everything. But
so less is more, and just it's about your hands, about the fingers.
that's right.
Yeah?
It's
the
all.
touch.
It's really in the hands what you really want to do, you know.
So if somebody said, "Hey, how do I get that James Burton sound?" You're just gonna go practice to get the touch.
Come borrow my fingers.
Yeah, that's right. Well, a lot of people call you for those fingers. You know, you've had a career of people calling you.
Yeah, and this picture here, we was in my home out here on the lake, and it's my little grandson Skylar and my son Jeff, and these guys they're into it. That's why we have so much different gear, a lot of different gear. Everybody has a different opinion, that's okay. I like that, but for what I like is a good clean sound, a good guitar, and these amps are very dependable.
Oh yeah.
Really good
So
stuff.
how many years have you been with Fender?
Let's go back to 55.
Really?
55. I talked to Leo one day on the phone, and I said, Leo, I love this Telly, this original, the one Mother and Dad bought me. He said, well, you just, whatever you need, you just call and you got it. And ever since, you know, and then when I put my program together with the signature model, you know, a lot of my friends, Eric Clapton and all the guys got them.
Those guys,
the
just
signature
Eric
models,
Clapton,
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, just those guys.
but you know, it's still all in the fingers, you know,
Right.
and it's like you, the way you play, you know, you pick up anything and make it sound great.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm
yeah.
not like you.
Oh, no,
I tried. You showed me that. Like, I'm gonna play that a million times. You wait until I get it.
Yeah, and you know, when you take a lick from someone, you do it your way. You know, the way you.
Well, I want to do it like you. That's what I'm trying to do, because you made it look so easy, and it's not easy. But I'm gonna practice. I'll get it. I'll get it.
Well, you know about the guitars. Those are all the signature models.
Oh man.
And I have several. I'm working on a new signature now. You're gonna love.
Oh.
So, but it's all in fun.
So you still have that same, like when you're a kid, when you were first learning, you still have that same kind of energetic, I'm gonna wake up and a day of playing guitar is a good day.
Yeah, man. You know, it doesn't matter who the singer is. It's being able to play your instrument and come up with new ideas, and it's fun. It's really it's great. It's soothing. It's, you know, music is a universal language of the world. You know that.
Yeah.
So every day, even though you don't feel like playing, when you play that first lick, you say, "Oh, now you're back into it." You know, it's great.
Life goes so fast. The main thing is to never stop. And all you have to say is, what's next? What are we going to do next? Age has nothing to do with it. It's all a state of mind. And James is the same way. He'll just walk out and do whatever we ask him to do, and he's on.
You haven't stopped. And you just keep going and keep going.
Well, you know, it's all a blessing from God. He put me on the right track, my direction, and he played my guitar.
And God's really blessed us. I mean, we're not the richest people in the world as far as money. We're the richest people in the world with our friends and our faith.
Stop whitening your smile the old-fashioned way with strips and trays that can take 30 minutes to an hour. I'm Jonathan Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. When I met Dr. Ginniker and he introduced me to Power Swabs and I saw how effective they were and how easy they were to use, I knew we had to share it with the world. Power Swabs was clinically studied to whiten natural teeth as well as stain caps, crowns, and veneers. It's so effective, it works on stains caused by coffee, tea, red wine, and even smoking. For those of you who have that one stained tooth, Power Swabs can target that area using swab precision.
I was actually able to take the swab and really get through some of those areas that are kind of like untreated. I can immediately see the shades getting brighter and brighter or whiter and whiter.
Order Power Swabs and receive up to 50% off the retail price. And as an added bonus, get a free quick stick pen with your order. Dial the number on your screen today.
If you don't mind, I want to jump. When I saw this, I got so many questions because I was online preparing to talk to you. And what I'm finding out is in, those guitar player forums that kids today, there's a certain sound that Telecasters get that they refer to as the James Burton sound now. Yeah. And when I hear that, I remember you playing with Elvis and this guitar. What was it about this guitar?
Well, yeah, I had a phone call one day from a gentleman at Fender, and he said, I have a guitar here with your name on it. And I said, really? So I went down, and he said, there's a guitar. I opened the case and looked at it, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. Not for me, maybe for my buddy Van Halen. And they said, no, it's for you, man, that's you. We were getting ready to open Las Vegas with Elvis. And I said, okay, I'm going to take this guitar. So when we opened in 1969 at the International Hotel, the deal was I was afraid to play that on stage with him. It was just a little bright, a little flashy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a little wear and tear on it now because it's been around the world a few times.
Yeah.
But that guitar sounds so great, man. And you'll see this little switch here.
Yeah, what is that?
No, man, that's the sound. That's the sound, yeah.
Is that a secret? I didn't even notice that before.
That's a secret.
Really?
But the sound, the notes are so big, Tony. When you hit that little E, so big.
Really?
Fat sound, big sound.
Okay. We gotta find out what that is. Now I gotta go to Fender, and I'm gonna ask Fender, what's that switch you put on James' guitar?
No, they didn't do it. Fender didn't do it. I had a very, very good friend of mine, a guy named Red Rhodes, played steel guitar in L.A., and him and I played together.
Oh, so you had to customize.
Yeah. So I had him to do a winding on this back pickup, and he did, and he put the little switch, and you could switch from one or the other. It's pretty cool.
Oh, neat. That's cool.
And I've had a lot of compliments on that guitar, how big the sound was, and it just sings out.
Well, this is the sound that we grew up hearing, you playing this guitar. I mean, and it is weathered. I mean, it's, I was surprised how orange it got, because under the pickguard, it's still kind of pink.
This is actually a wallpaper.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
So, but this guitar, I was a little nervous playing it with Elvis on stage because I was afraid what he might say. I was like, no, man, that's too,
James, why are you playing a pink guitar?
So when we opened in '69, I played my original Tele, the one Mother and Dad bought me.
Okay.
2 weeks later, Red West came to me and said, you got to play that new guitar, man. You got to play it. I took it out, played 2 shows. He didn't say anything. You know, when you do Johnny B. Good, he'd come up and act like he's playing guitar with me, you know. And I figured now's the time, now that he's going to say something. I was in my dressing room, and Red came down and said, Elvis wants to see you in his dressing room. So I went down and I walked in, and he said, James, man, I love that guitar you're playing. It's beautiful, and it sounds great. He said, you play it all you want to. I told him the story. I was a little nervous about it because I was afraid he might come down on me on stage. But he loved it. He loved it, and he said, you play it all you want to, man.
Oh, wow. When Elvis would introduce you, he had a title.
Yeah, he would say, ladies and gentlemen, from Shreveport, Louisiana, James Burton.
Well, he also said, James is the greatest guitar player I have ever heard.
Oh, well, I can't say that.
I can say it, because Elvis would say it, too. I thought that was awesome.
Well, you know, Tony, I've had the pleasure to play and perform with many, many great artists, and I got to tell you, Elvis is top of the list.
Yeah. You told me one time this great story about Elvis and he was a man of faith.
Oh, yes.
And you told me about his Bible. Do you remember that
yes.
story? Can you tell
I'll
me?
never
Can you
forget
tell
it.
us that?
Well, I tell you, we were upstairs after the show at Vegas International Hotel. And I'm sitting on this couch, and Elvis appears in the doorway with his Bible. And he looks at me and comes to me, and I'm thinking, okay. And so this Bible was like a fan. It's not a Bible that's never opened, never marked in, never read. It was like a fan. And he comes over and sits with me, and we start talking the Bible. He was awesome. I mean, he loved the Lord. And people ask me all the time, do you really think that he went to heaven? And there's no doubt he's in heaven. I mean, this man was a Christian. And do we do things that we're not proud of? Yeah. Are we human? Yes. We all make mistakes, and we all do things. And then we come back and say, dear God, please forgive me. And I'm going to do better tomorrow. If we didn't, then that would really be depressing, wouldn't it? And God says he'll forgive anything. And he's just the most Christian person. I mean, if you had ever sit and talked to him about his Lord, it's electrifying. He was sent by God. He had a purpose, and God brought him home when he had served, you know, what he wanted him to do here. And that was to unite a lot of people around the world and to pray. And
That's
that
neat.
was, yeah. People say, oh, he'd have been a great preacher. He was a great preacher. He would sing these gospel songs on his show, which some people wouldn't even have that nerve. He didn't care, and people would sit and cry. I mean, he brought a lot of people that didn't know the Lord.
He had that voice. I mean, he had a
and it
beautiful
was
voice.
his feelings through his voice. But he brought a lot of people to the Lord through his songs. That he was a preacher, but he didn't go out and preach except through his music.
Right. How come you don't think that has come out more? I mean, I know we all know him, the king of rock and roll, and this hype and stuff. But for me, you make him human. You know what I mean? And that's a perspective that I think a lot of people forget. You know, and the stories I hear from James and you, that's what I like when I get to talk to you. You know, you bring the humanality of it, and especially an icon like Elvis. You know what I mean? He becomes larger than life, like he's almost not real in a way. You know what I mean? Right. He's like this pop culture icon, but he was a real man. He was a human being. You knew that side of him.
Yeah, I didn't know the superstar side of him until the funeral. When we heard that he had gone to heaven, we just like, this is news, just somebody wanting to make a news blast, you know. We didn't believe it. And so James called me. He can tell you that side of his story, but he called and said, yeah, he's really gone, Louise. And he said, I'm on my way to Memphis. I want you to meet me there. I said, okay, because I was in Louisiana visiting my parents, and his parents. And so I met him there, and we were in the house for 2 days before the funeral. And it was like, really emotional. I can't tell you how it was. And we're with Vernon a lot, and we're sitting talking to him. And we're going through the house, you know, and memories. And when we went, they had a service at the house for private people. And then when we got in the cars and went to the cemetery, and we had another service there. When we saw all these people, thousands and thousands, and you have to know, this was before computers,
right,
where you can get on and instantly know something in 30 seconds. Yeah. And I was shocked that people came from all over the world. And when we were from the house to the funeral, it wasn't very far, but people like 7 deep or 20 deep at some areas were crying their hearts out. And they were from all over the world, and they were hanging over the overpasses. That's when James and I realized what a superstar he was. But not before that, because he was just always a friend.
He was a great, great guy, a very great Christian guy. And what can I say, one of the best singers ever. And and we were real close. He was.
Well, he has, now you and him share a statue that I would love for you to show me. I was there when yours got unveiled.
Tony, he called me one day and said, JB, I'm really lonesome over here by myself. Come over and join me.
So you had to do it, right? And you had to have a statue made. And
my mother came when he unveiled it, and she's right in front of her looking at it, and she said, well, that don't look like you.
Did she say that?
Mother's a statue. I thought it was funny. I'm truly honored to have you here.
Thank you.
And
it's my pleasure. Are you kidding me?
We're going to do it again.
This is a bucket list day for me.
Your own bell? Stand by.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
And action.
Well, let's jam.
Let's go to Mexico.
Yeah. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's awesome.
Where's the hook?
Want more Backstage stories? Become a member of our Patreon page. You'll get access to bonus footage, full performances, swag, and special live events where you can interact with guests. If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend and share. We really appreciate your support. This is your Backstage Pass.
What an experience. If you ever get a chance to do this, I absolutely recommend it.
100%.
Hi, good. I'm looking for Marcia.
Well, you got her right here. You must be Chrissy.
I am Chrissy.
We're talking about our book.
Yes.
God called me to go to Africa, and I would just go to Africa to minister to the people.